Good evening. Welcome to Conscious Conversations on Wednesday, January 20th. I'm so happy to have Valerie Sheppard with me today. The last time she spoke at Unity, her talk was just full of stimulating ideas, I guess I'll say. And two of them really stuck in my mind and really made me want to explore more. So you'll hear later as we talk about that, what those two things were. Could go a lot deeper too, but this is what we explored. Our opening poem tonight is by Rumi, and after we get into our discussion, you'll kind of see why I chose this poem. The poem is "Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. It doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, even if you have broken your vow 1,000 times. Come yet again. Come, come." And let's hear this song by Jennifer Russell and Michael Gale, who come to our church often and have a song that they've actually created around that poem. And here's one of their songs.
Today, Michael's joining me. We're in our living room, and I know we're coming from our living room probably to yours, so we'd like to do the song Use Me today. You ready?
Yes.
Here I'll abide as you show.
Thank you, Jennifer and Michael. And now let's have our prayer segment for all those on the prayer list this month. We've had some people experience personal loss, a transition in these last few weeks. And we definitely want to include them in our prayers. We wish to bless everyone in this sacred moment, and especially those who have experienced loss. We surround them with light. We surround them with the presence of the Holy Spirit. We affirm that all of us are in this circle of light together. And those who have left their physical body remain with us in spirit. And the love and closeness we felt to them in this world remains even as they leave this world to go on their next journey. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for your presence at this time. And so it is. Amen. And appropriately, the daily word for today is divine order. My life and my world are in divine order. If I am feeling impatient, confused, or unsure of what my next step should be, I pause to breathe deeply and affirm divine order. Thinking and speaking these words reminds me that I am not merely hoping for a positive outcome. I am placing my faith in the orderly process of manifestation. Divine order assures me the perfect solution already exists, and my highest good is on its way. I do not worry about what the future holds. Instead, I relax in the knowledge that tomorrow is the open door for the highest blessing, which is already unfolding for good. My mind and heart are peaceful. Affirming divine order keeps me open to receiving fulfilling results, even if the outcome is not what I expected. All things should be done decently and in order, from the book of Corinthians. So let's just spend a few moments in meditation as we hold to divine order, affirm divine order in our lives. And here's another song from Jennifer and Michael.
I place my life, I place my desire I remember that faith walks in, not waiting for an invitation. Hope stands on the outside, looking for its opportunity. But faith walks in, trusting in her own light. Faith moves me on to the heart of my desire. Faith pulls me forward. I can never fail. Hope stands upon the earth, looking longing towards the sky. Faith leaps on the wings of spirit, sending to heaven high. I know that faith walks in, not waiting for an invitation. Hope stands on the outside, looking for its opportunity. Faith walks in, trusting in his own light. Faith walks in, not waiting for an invitation. Hope stands on the outside, looking for its opportunity. Faith walks in, trusting in its own light. Trusting in its own light. Oh, seeds.
So it's now time for our conscious conversation with Valerie Sheppard. She speaks at Unity. She will be speaking at Unity again on February 7th. But we're going to be referring to some ideas that she presented in her last talk, which was in November, and just kind of hit my mind and heart in a way that called to me to explore a little more. So now here's Valerie. Well, Valerie, I'm so happy to see you. We've been talking about this for a while, about my reaction, or whatever you want to call it, to your talk back in November. Those things that just sort of really stuck with me, and I wanted to revisit at least two of them. I think there's way more from that talk, but the two that stick out for me are the making what's unconscious conscious, and then the second thing being, you told the story about a friend of yours who had given up smoking, which we all, I think, realize how difficult that is. And you made the point that he stressed to you that he has to give it up every hour at first, every day, this is a constant recommitting to something. And I thought to myself, boy, that is not a message that we want to hear in 2021, do we? We do not want to hear that. We want to hear, great, I just changed my mind. And so then I picked up your book, and right in the first few pages, and I want you to read that quote in your own voice.
Yes, change doesn't happen, a shift doesn't happen because you want it to happen. It takes conscious, committed action to transform your life. And we all have different ideas potentially of what conscious, committed action is. But until you know what it is for you, all of those out there goals are going to stay out there. They're going to come in and then they're going to be gone again, because the committed action part is where many people, including myself, including me, I won't say drop the ball. I'm going to say delay our ultimate success.
And so do we delay because it gets hard? Is that one of the reasons that, because I think we know people, I know myself that I'm pretty good at, striving toward a goal, but there's something about this that's less, like you said, those goals out there, it's like you know what you're doing, you know where you're going, but they call the spiritual path sometimes the pathless path, because there's no template. Nobody can say to you, well, you should do this and you should do this.
Yeah, so I'm not sure I buy into the pathless path idea.
Okay.
I'm a student of Neville Goddard and Napoleon Hill and others, and law of attraction is activated on intention, and intention is deliberate. And so there's no such thing as a pathless path if you really want to deliver yourself to your ultimate success, your highest potential. So the idea to me is that you've got to create the best path that you have in your, the mind, heart, integrated spiritual human element that you are in the moment. And then the conscious committed action part is where you continue, like you keep going so that you don't stop 3 feet from gold. And so what I mean by that is it's important to pick a path, even if it turns out that that's a detour. You're doing the best you can. You're doing the best you can with what you know about you. I don't mean about the paths. I mean what you know about you. And so the unfoldment isn't the path, although we tend to want to make it that. And what I mean by that is if the path starts looking like it's a rocky road, if I somehow slid into a pit on this path, then it must be the path. And in actuality, it's me. The unfoldment on the journey to the highest and best is not the path. It's not the people. It's not the circumstance. The circumstance is only illuminating what I'm allowing to be the evolution of me. The be, do, have, who am I being, not what am I doing. The path is the doingness. It's who am I being. That's what's going to evolve my consciousness, and to be able to like see that in motion. So when you ask, like, does it get hard? What stops us? I think there are a couple things that stop us. One of them is we overestimate our ability to see way down the future. And what I mean by that is when I make like commitments, and when I hear people talk about their New Year's resolutions, they're talking about this long horizon in time, right? But we're not really that well equipped, unless we're seers, that well equipped to see that far in advance. And so I think we outsmart ourselves, and things come in that we hadn't anticipated because we couldn't see that far. Things come in that jazz us up, and we're like, do I want to do this? Or like, oh, I said it, but what? And so we get caught up in, and then we go, oh, well, I guess I'll have to do that resolution another time. So part of it is, one of the things I suggest when this transformation, personal transformation, is to pick a smaller interval. So like right now when I'm doing transformation for myself, how I want to eat, or a really juicy one for me is that a client of mine gifted me a petite baby grand piano.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And the piano arrived here today. And I don't play the piano. And so, but I've always wanted to. It has always been this, I want to play the piano. I had a keyboard that fits with my computer and this piano program and blah, 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 blah. But now there's a baby grand piano in my house and it's gorgeous. And so for me, it's not, okay, I'm going to set up lessons. I'm going to play piano 3 times a week for the next 6 months. And then I'm going to see where I am. No, all I committed to, that piano got here today, all I've committed to is I'm going to put in a half an hour to just say hello to the piano later on. Just today. That's my commitment. It's in the moment today. Tomorrow when I wake up, I will recommit. So that story that I told you about my friend was about recommitting, letting yesterday go and recommitting today. It's not about getting anywhere. It's just about in this moment, I know that I want to fulfill that commitment to get to know my piano, to dance on with my piano and see with, maybe if the piano, maybe it's a little occupational therapy for my right hand. So I always encourage people, if it's a month, if you feel really good, I know I can do a month, then commit to a month. If it literally really is, I don't know that I can commit to any more than just right now, I'm just going to let go of that anger. I can't commit to any more. Right now, I'm going to forgive myself for that guilt. I don't know if I can get any further than that. Then don't make yourself on a false pretense. Pick the least. And here's the most important point. Now, I learned this very well from some of the rehab I was doing after the stroke, after the brain hemorrhage. And my physical therapist, the doctors would say, you don't teach your body. We were working a lot on balance because I had to learn to walk again. And so they were telling me, you don't teach your body balance by being off balance. In other words, it would be better for you to hold on to something and just let your body settle into standing up. It's not really important that you let go right away because you don't teach yourself balance that way. You teach yourself balance by having the brain get confident that the body and the brain are working together and you're standing up. And then let go of one finger and then another finger and then another finger. Okay. And so what we try to do is run before we walk. We forget that we had to crawl for a while before we even could stand up. And then after standing up came the first step, right? And a lot of times after the first step, we fell back down. So this kind of, and some people probably teach this as compartmentalization. So I call it bite off the smallest chunk you possibly can and make that plenty. Make that enough. You don't have to, it's that whole adage, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. But don't even commit to eating the elephant is what I'm saying. Just commit to what is the meaningful piece of that equation that you want to do first. So that's the smallest time interval. I think the other thing, Mary Jean, is we lose our curiosity. We lose our curiosity. And what I mean by that is the evolution of me, the instrument that I am, not the world. I'm not trying to evolve that. I'm trying to just own myself. I say that instead of homework, I say own work, O-W-N, because that means I'm owning it. I'm claiming it as mine to do, not someone else's to motivate me to do, encourage me to do. It's mine to do. So my own work. And where I feel like sometimes I lose curiosity is also the same point when it gets stale, when I get bored with my commitments, when I get defeated by kind of hanging out in the status quo or what's the closest thing that feels comfortable. And this ties right into the other point that you were making, or the question you were asking around making the unconscious conscious. To me, it's the curiosity that allows me to do that at the highest and deepest levels. It's the curiosity about, I wonder why I think that, or why I don't think that, or I wonder why I didn't even notice that about myself. It's that. And what I feel has kept me out of my own evolution and is when I was damn sure adamant I already knew how to do that, or I was absolutely positive I already knew what I thought, or I already knew what I liked and what I didn't like. And I was telling a colleague yesterday, 2 days ago, about my most recent example of that. Like, I had a really exciting moment. And this has to do with my business, but it happens in my personal life as well. I'm about to take this like 14-day challenge or 2-week challenge. I don't know, 12 days, 2-week challenge around building a tribe, an active, engaged tribe. And I really, I feel like I've been doing that for a long time and really, really wanting that. Why? Because that allows me to be a part of the light and love and laughter that transforms the planet. And that's my mission. That's my passionate goal, purpose. And so I'm taking, I joined this challenge to create this. What I learned about myself in the course of doing it was that I have evolved, because in the past, when these opportunities have come up, I would hear myself say, I already know how to do that. I'm a marketing executive. This is marketing. I teach marketing. I would have this somewhat arrogant, but just, I think, ultimately, the little girl, my inner child, who doesn't want to acknowledge that she doesn't know it. And in my history, not knowing it didn't get rewarded. It was a problem, especially as a Black female in the 60s. You need to know stuff for people to take you seriously, for people to think that you are equal to the white child in the room. And that's just to be equal, let alone to be better. So I haven't always been willing to admit I don't know how to do that without also feeling shame and, let me see if I can get a hold of it, fear and sadness. I feel I'm not lovable without this part. If I let them see that I don't know, they won't love me as much. I'm supposed to know at my age, at this point in my career. You can come up with the intellectual alibis, right? Mm-hmm. So what I acknowledged this week when I signed up for this thing was, oh my gosh, I've evolved beyond thinking I need to know it. And that's probably what's been keeping me out of having a tribe. Mm-hmm. And how perfect is that? Because maybe I wasn't ready to teach this to a bigger tribe if I haven't really allowed myself to learn it myself. So the curiosity combined with the shortest interval of like, I'm doing this, I'm doing it now, here we go, has allowed me to make a lot of transformation happen. There's some other things we can go into, but I want to shut up for a minute and give you a chance to.
Well, that's great, because I've been thinking about when you were talking that you had tremendous success and achievement. It's not like you didn't make the rules work. You knew what the rules were and you went out there and made it happen. But something authentic in you, I'm guessing, said that must have been a very difficult thing to know that, you had checked all the boxes. That's what I think of when I think of, the story of you coming to Southern California and having this outstanding job and all this other stuff, and then just being so miserable because, well, I'm just wondering, is it like, some people would say, well, it was sort of a midlife crisis, or it was a bad job. Some people would have said that, this is just a bad fit for me. I'll just go out and get a different job. But you knew it was something deeper, is what I'm thinking.
yes. And the way I knew that was the curiosity.
Okay.
Right? So the curiosity to go, why is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it was a bad fit, but how did I miss that? And there was a small voice. I think I put this in the book. I'm not
You
sure.
did, yes, you did.
There was a small voice that said, "Do not take this job." It didn't say
Yeah.
those words, but it was a contraction. It was a definite pulling away from the yes. It was not a yes. And at that moment, because I've learned this about myself, I don't like to ask questions if the answer is not going to be what I want.
I just won't ask that question. Don't ask that.
I'm just not going to ask. I don't want to know that.
Right.
I don't want to know that my higher self and all my angels and God are saying no.
Yeah.
I'm going to like power through and kind of, you know, I feel myself doing this. Like, okay, maybe if I hunker down a little bit, God won't see me, right? I hear you, God. I really do want to be on the bicycle built for two, sitting on the back seat, but I'm going to be on the front seat, you know? So I heard it. And it, like I said, it wasn't words. There was just a definite feeling of this isn't it. And when I got here, all the reasons that this wasn't it showed up. And so when I got to the most painful point, it was really okay, we did this. And there are other aspects of this that are showing it's not just the decision to come here. There's something about this life that I've created that doesn't feel like it's supposed to be my life. And it's not about the trappings. It's not about being in California versus being in Michigan. It wasn't about that. It was about, where's the happiness? Why does it only come for short periods of time? Why am I always feeling like I'm on the grindstone? Why do I have resentment? And what's that doing to me? And why is it that I can be in a room full of people who might be there to talk to me, and I feel alone? And I feel sad that I'm alone. Like, what's that about? So those questions, so that's curiosity, not just California didn't work and now I'm going to go find a marketing job somewhere else, right?
Right.
Because I believed in this truth that Confucius, I believe, said, wherever you go, there you are.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever you go, there you are. Meaning the common denominator in all of my stories about all of my life things that didn't go the way I wanted them to, the common denominator was I was in every one of those stories.
Right.
So I had to be, it was hard at first. There was some self-recrimination. I've taught myself about how that doesn't serve me in the equation. And so I've released that. I can look back very objectively and go, oh, that was a time when I was being run by my false self. Mm-hmm. And my false self has a really good ability to run me ragged. And I didn't know it at the time, but now I do. So I can self-diagnose a lot better. But to be able to go, okay, if I'm the common denominator in all of these stories, then is it possible that the reason all these stories are the way they are is because of me? That was not a very easy conversation to have with myself.
And I think that could be part of the reason why people who either they know that they need to recommit to these things, but it's hard to see yourself that way, right? It's hard to see, like most of us have had the experience of, I'm going to do X, whatever X is. And then, 2 days, 3 days, a week, a month, whatever it is, we don't. And instead of understanding that, this recommitting is part of the deal. We don't do that. We immediately, because it is painful. And I think what you're describing, if you've ever had the experience of, and most of us have, of knowing you betrayed yourself to a certain degree, right? The day you heard that inner something say, don't take this job, and you did anyway because you intended to power through and it was the right thing because all the other stuff added up or whatever. That's a terrible
title.
Yeah. That's a terrible feeling to know that you did it to yourself, that you knew, but you didn't sort of stand up for yourself and say, yeah, that's a bad feeling.
Yes. And it's a bad feeling because of what we attach to the idea of mistakes and failures.
That's right.
We've been conditioned to attach these things, but we need to stop doing a number on ourselves, and we need to be the ones to say, oh, that's a game I play where I keep myself down no matter what. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. I made a mistake, and I'm gonna go into the mistake and ask it what it came to teach me, and I'm going to move on, and I'm going to recommit. And maybe the mistake is about, like, what if the dynamic was not as deep as I took it to show me all the ways that I was actually out of sync with my divine calling and my divine life. But what if it was just to show me a small piece, like a teeny piece of that? Like, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. And the beautiful thing about recommitment is it's the centerpiece of resilience, right?
Yes.
In the post-secondary world of mine, post-secondary education vernacular, it's called grit. It's like learning how to not grit your teeth, but like learning it's not that you fell down. It's, I don't remember whose quote this is. It's that if you fall down 10 times, you get up 11, right? Yeah. No matter what, find your way back up. Now, I always talk about sometimes there needs to be a pause. And I want to talk at some point about the idea of discipline. And I think that's a part that's underneath, why we don't make it all the way across the finish line is, so we can talk about those things, but it's really important that we not, power through, but that we love and joyfully dance through. And when we can do that, I think we can get further faster. And one thing I notice about me is I like to list, if you're a person who, like me, likes to keep lists and like cross things off. Here's one that I'm in the process of dealing with, my budget. Okay. And here's I have a little my little workbook, Believe in Miracles, and then I've got projects that I'm working on and things that are crossed off. And so if you're a person who lives by that, what I've noticed with myself is if I have a day that goes quote unquote off the rails, do I want to say that? Let's see. Oh, I don't think so. Okay, so we're cancel clearing that. If I have a day that unfolds differently than I envisioned, we won't call it pejorative. It's just
that wasn't on your list. That wasn't
right. But yeah. You know what I do? What do you think I do at the end of the day?
I don't know. Write it down, or
I write the things down on my list that I did that weren't really on the list, and then I cross them off.
Okay.
So I get the feeling of accomplishment. It wasn't that day's plan, but for whatever reason, those things overtook that day's plan. So I'm saying to myself, I chose to allow the overtaking, so it must have been important. And if it wasn't, then I'll have to look at why is so many administrative things getting done instead of the core things getting done. But that's inquiry. That's just dancing in the inquiry. But to feel the sense of accomplishment amidst a sense that could be defeat, right? Oh my God, nothing on my list got done today. So
right.
I'm not really outsmarting myself. I'm honoring myself. I've been conditioned to live by lists. That feels good to me. It helps me. So I'm going to keep doing the living by list, but I need to manage the way I live by list in a way that I'm expansive when I'm doing it. And if I keep having days where nothing on the list gets done, but all this other stuff gets done, well, the curiosity underneath that is maybe I need an assistant. Like, what's going on? Like, to actually look at it instead of just, you don't know how to manage your time. You never got to get anything done. What's your problem? You should know better than this. No, it's like, okay, so what needs to change here, and how am I going to take responsibility and ownership in total love and support? It's the difference between, I talk in my book about the difference between being the judge, jury, and executioner over myself, or being the nurturing, sweet fairy godmother over myself. And I like the fairy godmother energy. I've felt both from myself. I kind of like the fairy godmother energy a lot better.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you were talking, this whole issue of making the unconscious conscious, you know, shifting into that curiosity, that ability to say, I don't know, or I don't know and I'd like to know more, or, you know, there's a certain amount of vulnerability about that, right? Of saying, I don't know and I'd like to know more. And I wonder if that's what it is that holds people back from making the unconscious conscious, because they don't like that vulnerability of, I don't know. I mean, how you can't know what's unconscious, right? You have to somehow be willing to look at it.
Yes.
And that's what people don't like.
It's a concept that I love dancing with. Like,
yeah.
Is it really unconscious?
Okay.
And at what moment, like, if everything I desire is already in me, I was already appointed and anointed. So how could there possibly be aspects of me that won't reveal themselves to me? Like, what's that equation? So that's one of my ongoing inquiries. Doesn't help the question that you just asked, but that's one of my ongoing inquiries. So a couple things I will say. If I'm a person who doesn't like saying I don't know, at some point I would expect that it's going to show up so many times that it's going to give me an opportunity to evolve that. Where did I get the idea that not knowing was dangerous, i.e. I'm vulnerable, was potentially going to keep me from what I want, i.e. they expect it of me, they expect me to know, and therefore they won't give me what I want if I don't know. Like, where did those ideas come from? In the book, I talk about sacred cow beliefs. Like, where did these beliefs come from? Like, don't wear white after Labor Day. Okay, so someone made that stuff.
Someone made that up, right?
And I bought into it unwittingly. That was the way I was raised. And now I get to choose again. And see, that's part of the recommitting. Choose over. Make a new choice. You don't like what it is, choose a different. I don't like Rocky Road ice cream. What would you do? You take a taste. I don't like Rocky Road. Can I have the raspberry instead? Okay, so why can't we do that with our lives? Like, I don't like this thing and I would like to do something different. Okay, stop doing that thing then. Do it responsibly. So to me, this whole idea, I will say this too. I really am very careful about words. As you know, as a mystic and a metaphysician, they carry powerful energy. And not only just in the world, but we hear every word we utter and every thought we think. If nobody else hears them, we do. And so I'm very careful to use only the words that really lift me up, that support me to do what it is that I want to do. So I'm very careful about saying I don't know. And the reason is because it feels to me like it's a closed door. It's a system that's closed. I've stated emphatically, I don't know. Now, what you stated was, I don't know, and I'd like to know more. So to me, the door's a little open there. So, but what I teach my students and my clients is, if you can get I don't know out of your vernacular and just state the truth, which is, I don't think I've thought of that deeply enough yet. Like, to make it a wide open door, because when we make things a wide open door, what happens? The universe conspires to fill the vacuum. The universe, it can't come into a closed space and fill that space up. The statement of an emphatic, I don't know how to do that. I don't know why they said that. Like, when we say that, we're completely clamped down on a space, and it's not a space that's open for reevaluation, open for receiving anything, whether that bubbles up from the inside. It's all bubbling up from the inside, but how is it being triggered? I'm saying, I wonder what that is to myself. I wonder what that is, self. And I call my higher self has a name. Her name is Ladybug Grace. So I'll say, so LBG, what's that all about? And so, like, whether you're doing that for yourself or somebody else triggers something, it pops off and you're like, ooh, that felt like crap. I feel vulnerable right now because I don't have the answer. Like, whatever way it gets triggered, the universe is trying to help you open the door, and clamping back down on it keeps you right there in the not knowing. And it's a lot better. So I encourage people to pick your language that feels the most open to you. I'm still sorting that out. Or that's an area of inquiry. That's one of my favorite phrases because it picks up the curiosity. That's an area of inquiry for me.
Yeah.
An area of ongoing further inquiry.
And, I just heard this description of two kinds of intelligence: fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. And crystallized intelligence is this fixed, I know this stuff, this is what I studied, this is what I've learned, this is what I know. And then fluid intelligence is this ability to sort of, be like water almost, like,
seagrass, like seagrass.
Yes, that I'm not so fixed in what I know. I'm not, and we all know people who are so, you can almost see it in their body, right? That their body is in this firm, I know it, I and anything I don't know, I don't even go there with me about it. So I think that what you're saying is that, gosh, I even just picture a body just kind of relaxing, and not being so holding on to, for dear life, whatever your territory feels like or your ideas feel like. And I think now, especially when we're in this time where it seems like people are just so fixed in their beliefs of what they believe, what they don't believe. And it's almost like the more fear there is in the atmosphere, the more people need to have these fixed beliefs. And that's the time when you want to be more curious, right? When you don't know, and when things look so unstable, you want to be more curious of how to adapt or what to give up or whatever. But these are very important concepts that we're talking about.
Yes. This whole we talked about a couple things there. The making the unconscious conscious, and the I don't know and what would help me know, right? If you are a person who feels comfortable saying I don't know, then I think the next question ought to be, and what will help me know? So, like, when I'm working with clients and they're in an I don't know space, then the conversation shifts to saying, well, if you did know, what in fact might you say? If you did know what that feels like and you had the words, what words would you choose? Like, it's a way of sort of outsmarting the conscious mind and getting to a level below the conscious mind.
Right.
A way of telling the conscious mind to take a pause, not sit down and shut up, because we want to be whole. So a whole being doesn't disenfranchise any part of itself, no matter what. So it's not sit down and shut up. It's like, could you hold on for a minute? I'd like to inquire over here. And so in that case, making the unconscious conscious becomes asking the self, okay, I just said I didn't know that. If I did know, what exactly would happen? What exactly would I say? What exactly would I be feeling? What if I did know, what questions might come next? Where might I follow those questions? Like, that's the kind of curiosity that I'm talking about. Not curiosity about how do I change their mind. It's not curiosity about that. Remember, that was my talk on perspective.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about, wow, I feel like I'm sitting with someone who's incredibly intransigent. So I've now made them wrong and me right. They're incredibly intransigent. So what I start doing, and I'm not saying this is easy at all. I mean, I've got people in my family, we are in 180-degree opposite directions on some pretty big issues. And then I'm in a mixed race family. So you can imagine what a dynamic Black Lives Matter conversation can sound like. So in the space of, wow, I'm experiencing them as incredibly intransigent. How is that a reflection of me? Because why are we at heads? Because I'm intransigent on my ideas and they're intransigent on theirs. What would happen if I kind of loosened up? So we were doing the seagrass this way. So what if I loosened up and flowed over to where they are? And instead of saying, but, no, said, interesting. So tell me more about that. Interesting. So let me see if I can say it in my own words. What I think I heard you say was, now these aren't my principles. These are Marshall Rosenberg's principles of nonviolent communication, compassionate communication. Flow to the other person. Stop trying to convince them or change them and be with them. Being, right? Changing them is doing. Just being with them and being able to go, okay, it doesn't mean you have to like it. It's just, okay, what's in it for me to create a closer connection with this person right this minute? And what I see happening a lot right now that I believe is preventing the unconscious from becoming conscious is people are disengaging. Oh, you're one of them. See ya. Oh, you're one of them. You're not allowed to come over. Oh, you're one of them. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Oh, you're one of them. And we aren't in a space of, what's in it for me to know one of them? Because I'm one of them to them. So what happens if we let our guard down? And if they don't do it, that's up to them. I'm going to ask myself, like, what is it if I do it? How does this all work out if I do it? Like, do the dance with yourself, from yourself, to yourself, for yourself, by yourself. You don't have to get them to be a certain way or stop being the way they are in order for you to do your own curious inquiry of the unconscious. Yeah. But you have to be willing to go, why do I think that? And here's the other place the unconscious shows up. It shows up in your feelings, I don't have any words to describe this, but I feel like crying right now. That is your unconscious talking to you. It has no words. You're like, where's this coming from? But what do most people do? Stop that. I'm not allowed to feel this. What I typically do, even when I'm in meetings with people, I did it today with someone. I said, okay, hold on. A huge wave of fear. I mean, it was huge. It rocked me. I started crying. I said to them, I need a minute to let this wave dissipate. Wave dissipated. I wiped my tears, went on with the meeting. Later, I went into the wave of fear, or what I'm afraid. And this had to do with that same conversation about creating my tribe and the part of allowing myself to see that I don't have one, because every time I've had the offer to help me do it, I've acted like I already knew. And so what was I afraid of? I was afraid of being wrong. I was afraid that I really don't know how to do it, and I'd have to tell someone, like they'd know I don't really know how to do it. And that wave of fear is what I felt. That's talking to me. That's letting me know unconscious fear is still roaming around inside the instrument called Valerie Sheppard. And that unconscious fear is going to get in my way. It has to, because why? Wherever I go, there I am. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be wherever I choose to plant this magnificence in order to expand the territory on the planet for the divine.
So that's the what would I say? The payback of making the unconscious conscious is you get to be your whole self, right? You get to be your whole self. And, you know, if you think you can outrun it or move it or ignore it, or you can't. Eventually it will have, you know, and if not sooner, you know,
I say it in my book.
Happen.
I say it in my book. It just keeps knocking. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Right.
Hello.
Right.
And it's going to come in all different things. And if we're really committed to looking outside and like shielding ourselves from learning about ourselves, we'll not get it, and we'll leave the planet and we won't have gotten it.
Yeah.
We really have to be, the biggest commitment is to just opening the heart and looking through the eyes of love, through the heart, not through these eyes, right? Maybe this one, but not these. And being able to kind of notice, oh, that's my wounded little girl. And I love her. She is so cool. Yeah. And wounded little girl, come with me now. We're going to go do this class and it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
That's one other thing I wanted to say, okay. Mary Jean. There are a couple of things that need to happen in this dance. And I put in my title of my book, it's Dancing Your Soul Lifestyle is the subtitle. And I did a lot of testing, mystical testing on that word with my pendulum and other means, because it carries the energy of play. It carries the energy of movement. Dance is a form of expression, and Living Happy to Be Me is about expressing your magnificent essence. That's what that ME is about. So in this dance, there are a couple of things that are really helpful. Number one is, I don't know how people listening to this like the word discipline, but I hated that word. I grew up in a very disciplined household, and my father was a career Marine. And talk about discipline, look at a Marine. Spend some time with a United States, an active duty combat Marine, and you will learn what discipline really means. And so I have a really, I call it's a conditioned negative. I don't think my dad made it negative. I warped it into negativity because I fought being told what to do all the time. So I have a not so great relationship with discipline. Well, discipline's kind of important. It's important to just about anything, like whether it's our meditative life, even our play life, like even playing the piano. There's going to need to be some discipline around sitting down and actually doing it. So I've had to make a different relationship with the word. We're back to that conversation about words carry things. If you know words that don't work for you, stop using the word. Come up with a word that pings differently inside you. And so instead of, discipline, like, can I reframe discipline to encompass expansiveness and fun? Can I do that? And so I encourage and invite those of you who are watching this to think about, if discipline isn't a word that works for you when you're talking about making the conscious unconscious or creating new habitual practices, think of a word that makes it okay for you. But do not sit in something that doesn't feel good, expecting good to come out of it. That's an equation, doesn't work very well. The other one is two sides of the same coin. Like, there needs to be a pause button and there needs to be an easy button. A pause button and an easy button. And you're the only one who's going to know when you need to punch that button. And you're not doing it because other people think you should. You're doing it because, okay, something about my commitment to doing this and recommitting to doing it isn't feeling good. Like something just doesn't feel good. Doesn't mean you're giving up forever, but a pause button. So that might mean, it might mean in the middle of a day, going and playing solitaire. It might mean I'm on the month 3 of my 3-month commitment to eat keto, and I really want some French fries. So go eat the French fries.
Right.
Because forcing yourself to ignore yourself is not a part of the equation. It's just to learn discernment about, is that desire for French fries really coming from a place of frivolity? I'm going to have some French fries and then I'm going to get back to eating keto. Or are you eating for some other reason? Are you feeding something else? And that's the inquiry, the curiosity, the discernment. So if you have to pause, if you're feeling like, okay, this is feeling heavy and I'm not liking it and I'm going to risk never doing it again, I would say just hit the pause button, take a break. It's okay. You can love yourself enough to say, pause. And then the other one is make it easy. I don't think I'm really in the space to sit down and commit to weekly or daily 1-hour sessions of playing the piano. So I've made it easy right now. Every time I walk past it, I sat down for a few minutes and bang around a little bit. Oh, I'm playing the piano. I have to not think of myself because I love piano enough. When I was in Italy, I went to a church and went to a piano and harp concerto. I will go anywhere to hear live piano. I love classical piano. I want to play blues though. But so I can outsmart myself into making it hard, making it heavy. And so I'm like, I think I'm going to do this the easy way. I'm going to bang around a little, and not at 3 a.m. when my neighbors might be upset with me, but just to take the edge of discipline, the edge of it has to be done this way in order to get it done. And I encourage and invite everyone, look for your easy button, look for your way out. If it starts to feel heavy, give yourself a door. Doesn't mean you're giving up forever. Just hit the pause button and go for a swim.
Well, I'm so happy that you gave us all permission to a voice of someone who's, I consider a real force of nature. You are. And when you say that, it makes me feel like, okay, I can be nicer to myself and say, don't power through. And, I'm not saying everybody, and I'm sure you've had clients that you really had to do the opposite of saying, press the easy button. Maybe they have had to develop a backbone and really get going. But for a lot of people, though, it's really the opposite, that they need to really honor that inner knowing. And you can't do that if you're forcing yourself to do things.
And you got to honor the inner message of fatigue. I don't want to do this right now. Don't do it. I mean, maybe that's not possible depending on your job and the situation. So you have to do those situational dynamics
right.
The way you need to do them. And also, a pause could be 30 seconds to just regroup. Mm-hmm. A pause could be just close your eyes and say the affirmation that makes this too shall pass, and I have superiority over everything in my life. Create your power pills. In bowling, I used to be a league bowler.
Did you really?
I did. And this was back in the day when there weren't those automatic scores. We scored by hand.
Oh.
And when on a scorecard, so when somebody was having a bad run, 2 or 3 rounds 2 or 3 frames where they weren't doing very well, they were not closing a spare, and they were leaving pins up and all that, we would do a thing called a power pill, and we would put a couple power pills to cut off that energy. We're putting some power pills here at frame 3 before he goes to bowl in frame 5, or put power pills before she goes to bowl in frame 8. And so that's what I'm saying now. In heart math, it would be called a freeze frame. Boom, stop. What's your power pill? What is it? An affirmation? Is it a quick stand up, shake yourself? What is it for you? Create your own power pill. Is it, I do a quick jig for 5 minutes and I chant an incantation to Ganesha to move blocks out of my way, whatever it is. If you don't have one, why not? Why don't you? Like, you're powering through, and maybe you're not meant to. And that's why it's become so hard to show you you're not supposed to be powering through. So to create those energetic, mystical, metaphysical, expect a miracle things that will come out of you to support you, and nobody else has to approve or even know you do it.
Well, I'm delighted to say that we'll get more of Valerie on February 7th when you'll be with us as our speaker on Sunday. And I know you'll have some wonderful message that I'll have to have another conversation with you about things that just stick in my mind that go, I got to talk more about that. So thank you so much, Valerie. This is wonderful. And we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Mary Jean.
So you see what I mean by thought-provoking. How do we make what's unconscious conscious and really accept the idea that this is a process that we must affirm over and over again? It's not a question of reading one book or going to one retreat, but over and over affirming and working and practicing as we move on the spiritual path. Thank you, Valerie. So now it's time to remember our tithes and our love offerings, supporting our spiritual community, the place that we come to be spiritually fed. I've said before that the flow of divine order, the giving and receiving, puts us in a place where we are in a position to receive as we give. As the Bible says, you will give, you will receive as you give. It's just two sides of the same coin. So please remember Unity of Tustin. There is a way to give on our website, a donate button, and there should be also a button, a Facebook button that you can feel very safe in donating to us from that. It's actually quite advantageous to us because we do not pay fees to Facebook because we're a nonprofit. So please consider donating through that mechanism. And we can now say the love offering blessing. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Love the music in you. Love the song you sing. Let it bring you joy. Let it give you wings. Let it carry you beyond what you know.
Just a few announcements. Tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock begins Dr. Marge Britt's class on 100 Days of Prayer, a very powerful commitment. We hope you'll feel called. You can sign up for the entire 16 weeks, or you can just come to each class on Thursday from 1 to 2:30. There is an Eventbrite link for registration on our website. So you can go to www.unitytustin.org for more information. And then, of course, Reverend Blair's class on Rumi continues tomorrow evening at 6:30. And that class, you don't need to register for that class. And the Zoom address link is available on our website as well. So now let's say the prayer for protection as we close our meeting tonight. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. A very powerful affirmation. If you never say any other affirmation but the prayer for protection, that's enough. So thank you for being with me tonight. Next week, Kirk Reeve will be back with us to talk about more of his depth of knowledge about the metaphysical interpretation of the Bible, sort of the foundation of unity principles. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul is here. I go deeper, deeper, deeper deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in into the deepest kind of love, into the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.